Can you believe it? I've been doing these 1-minute mindsets for about a month now. I live here in California, and we were amongst the first places in the US to actually go on the shelter in place back in March 20th. And we just found out today we have to go all the way until May now. It all happened so fast, didn't it? And we had to adapt to so many different things like working from home or not being able to work at all and being with our families 24/7, not going to the gym or restaurants, and tutoring our children from home. Plus, not going through this individually, but the whole world is actually experiencing it all at the same time. Every day in the news, we see people dealing with this in much worse circumstances than we actually have. It's been so overwhelming. And it's not surprising at all that we've had moments or even days of feeling anxious or maybe even a little depressed. I'm hearing more and more lately about friends and students feeling anxious. In fact, psychologists are saying that dealing with this virus is just like any other traumatic event, like losing a loved one or getting a really serious diagnosis. So if you've had some days of anxiety, it's perfectly natural to sit down and cry or feel discouraged and down. It's okay and even healthy to express those emotions. But if you're starting to find yourself constantly anxious and worried, then you need to do something about it. If you don't, your anxiety will feed on itself and become even worse and out of control. Think about it. If you had a deep cut on your finger, would you just let it bleed day after day? Would you just ignore it and not do something to treat it, like cleaning it out or protecting it with a Band-Aid so it could heal? Of course not, right? You're smart enough to know that you need to actually deal with it or it will fester and get infected. Maybe you have to cut your finger off. Your constant anxiety is the exact same. If you don't deal with it, it's not going to disappear by magic. It will fester and get worse and start affecting everything in your life, like your relationships, your decision making, and your ability to actually cope. Not only that, but your anxiety is highly contagious, and you'll start infecting others all around you with it. Remember, that worry and anxiety is all about imagining something bad that is going to happen in the future. The things you're anxious about hasn't happened yet and may not ever happen at all, right? Sometimes anxiety feels like we're just worried about everything. But if you break it down, you'll probably find some very specific things that you're actually anxious about. Maybe you're anxious about whether your business will survive through this. Maybe you're worried about whether or not your loved ones are going to catch the virus. Maybe you're anxious that our new normal is going to be like this for several weeks or forever, and you're never going to get to travel again or celebrate birthdays with friends or go to sporting events. Again, none of this has happened yet, but your imagination is scaring you with the idea that it might happen. And the truth is that even if our fears do happen, if we keep a strong and healthy mindset, we can deal with anything. In the meantime, we're just making ourselves crazy and wasting precious time by worrying about what hasn't happened yet. Through this series, I've given you a bunch of practices that you can do to feel less anxious. In my blogs, I talked about breathing techniques, having a daily morning practice, gratitude, and so many others. If you try these not just once but several times and your anxiety still stays the same, you might need to talk with a counselor or a therapist to help you out. There's no shame in that. If you're in physical pain, you go to the doctor, right? If you're in mental or emotional pain, you might need to go to a therapist. And most therapists now have online sessions that you can actually go to. Do whatever you need to do to nip your anxiety in the bud. We will get through this. And when we do, we want to be in great shape physically, mentally, and emotionally. And hey, do me a favor. Please write to me to let your feelings out. Sometimes just by writing your feelings out, just like we did with the cards yesterday, you start to feel better. And remember, we're all in this together, America. Much love to you all.